Oh, so each of you guys had your own page in this yearbook?
Yeah, because we had a class of 60 kids.
I got like 1/16 of a page in my yearbook, I think.
Can we go to Zoe's page?
Oh, I just saw it. Oh my gosh, you're so cute. When I grow up, I want to be I don't know. I like that answer.
I love looking at old yearbooks. I asked Zoe and Sabrina, two of our interns, to bring theirs in.
Favorite book, The Silent Boy by Lewis Laurie. I like that.
In addition to all of the youthful memories they conjure up, yearbooks transform a school's demographics from stats on a piece of paper to real faces.
I see one black student over here, and I see some Asian students. Oh, I saw another black student there. I see your school is majority, I guess, white and Asian.
Zoe went to elementary school in her neighborhood on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. Sabrina grew up and went to school in East Brooklyn.
You're so cute. Hobby, chorus, and jump rope. My best school memory is in 4th grade when I went to the Wyckoff house and ate at McDonald's afterwards with my friends. In 20 years, I will be a lawyer for injustice and married with 2 kids.
Unless I missed any, I don't see any white faces in that yearbook.
I think you're right. It's weird because I had 2 black kids in my grade in elementary school, and we're only like an hour away probably, and just completely different worlds.
My name is Sabrina Duquesne, and I'm a senior at Brooklyn College Academy High School.
And I'm Zoe Markman, a sophomore at the High School of American Studies.
And I am Taylor McGraw, editor of The Bell, a civic media platform that amplifies students' voices and empowers them to lead the fight for their futures. Sabrina and Zoe are 2 of our 8 interns who are reporting and producing this season.
A lot of reporters tell stories about this school system from the outside in, but we are telling stories from the inside out.
Those stories will cover a range of topics: college readiness, mental health, sports. But before we get too deep, we wanted to give you a short introduction to this complex system. And we decided to release it today, May 17th, for a reason.
It's been exactly 64 years since the Supreme Court struck down separate but equal in its unanimous Brown v. Board decision.
Let me ask you, what do y'all remember learning about the Brown v. Board decision?
We just talked about how, there was the doll experiment with the black and white kids and just how that played like such a significant role in the outcome of the case.
Sabrina's describing a set of experiments conducted by social scientists Kenneth and Mamie Clark. You can check out episode 3 of last season if you want to know more about how that research influenced the Brown decision.
We watched the video in our classroom, and it was pretty emotional just to see how a lot of black students would describe the white doll as more as prettier.
And why is that doll pretty?
Because she's white and he has 2 eyes.
I feel like we all felt that pretty deeply.
I remember learning about the race doll test in middle school, and when they had the white kids who said, like, the ugly doll is the darker one.
Why is that doll ugly?
Because he's black.
I'm pretty sure every white kid in the room, which was the majority of the room, was sitting there going, like, but that's not me.
So you learned about the Supreme Court outlawing segregation while sitting in largely segregated classrooms. Do you recall how that felt?
I was angry with the adults, but I was just angry with society overall for just coming up with these constructs that would, single-handedly just determine how young people of color like me would feel when faced with the idea that, lighter skin is better.
I was just confused. It just didn't make any sense to me. And then it didn't make any sense to me why the adults around me weren't talking about it.
One thing's for sure, this season, we are talking about it. There's 2 things you need to know right off the bat.
Number 1, New York City, one of the most diverse cities in the world, has the nation's most segregated school system.
Number 2, it doesn't have to be this way. And this season, we're going to explain how current policies preserve 1960s segregation in the 21st century.
The favorite excuse policymakers give for why we can't integrate schools in New York City?
Could we create, the perfect model for diversified schools across the school system? No, because you have whole districts in this city that are overwhelmingly of one demographic background.
This is Mayor de Blasio, head of the school system. He's not wrong. Housing segregation is a real barrier, especially in elementary schools, because most kids go to school near where they live. But when it comes to high school, there are no school zones. New York City has what's called an open choice system across all 5 boroughs, and high school students take advantage. Thousands travel all over the city each morning to get to school, sometimes more than an hour each way. But despite all of that choice, high schools are just as segregated as elementary and middle schools. How is that possible? Zoe, Sabrina, take it away.
There are about 500 high schools here, and students are told they can choose any school they want.
But most students can't. The most desired schools have these complicated screens that require top GPAs and test scores, interviews, auditions, portfolios.
And time and money.
Yeah. Tell them more about that.
Well, take me. I started my high school application process in 7th grade. My mom didn't work full-time, so getting me into high school basically became her part-time job.
But what was she doing?
This.
Whoa, what's in there?
So you have a New York Times article on how to get into schools, all my grades from middle school.
Zoe is flipping through a thick 3-ring binder with about 100 pages neatly arranged in plastic covers.
Information from my school on deadlines. And then, of course, you have the flyers from the countless tours and open houses that I went to.
Getting into a public high school can't seriously be that much work.
You'd be surprised. Every week, my mom would take me to a tutor for the specialized high school test, the sole admissions process for 8 of the top schools in the city.
How long did this go on for?
For 10 months.
So what happened?
Well, I guess it paid off. I got into my first choice school, one of the top in the country.
Wow, that's really awesome, Zoe. I gotta be honest with you. Me and my friends, we surely didn't do that much preparation.
And that's the point. For decades, the rules of the game have been skewed to favor affluent families and allow them to cluster together in the same schools. Anytime the DOE talks about leveling the playing field, you can imagine what happens.
Here's how some parents reacted to a recent proposal to increase academic diversity in Upper West Side middle schools.
We really and truly don't want to switch our schools. It has nothing to do with color.
Oh, whoops. Sorry. That was from a white mom in the 1960s responding to an integration proposal. Here are the clips from last month.
I don't want to see my real estate investment fizzle out when it's all of our money. It's going to lose value if we're not zoned in a good school district.
You're telling them you're going to go to a school that's not going to educate you in the same way you've been educated. Life sucks. Is that what the DOE wants to say?
That last clip made it into a TV story and went viral. Friends from other states were texting it to me. It really took off when the New York City Schools Chancellor, Richard Carranza, who's only been on the job for about a month, retweeted it.
I wanted to ask you the motivation behind your late night tweet. It was divisive.
This is a teacher and parent on the Upper West Side calling in to WNYC's Brian Lehrer show to speak to the chancellor.
I want to know why the question wasn't, why aren't there more stronger middle schools in District 3 instead of blaming the parents?
The caller, who again is an educator, goes on to say she's worried the plan will fail because the DOE hasn't put any extra resources behind it. Here's how Chancellor Carranza responds.
There's some assumptions in what you've said which are not true. We've just secured in the budget millions of dollars for culturally relevant pedagogy training. I hope you will avail yourself of that training. We've secured millions of dollars for anti-implicit bias training. Again, hope you will avail yourself of that.
Translation, the implicit biases the caller displays might be what's standing in the way.
Chancellor Carranza didn't sugarcoat the issue, and we won't either.
We're kicking off the season later this month with one of the most controversial issues on this topic, the lack of diversity in the city's 8 specialized high schools. About 2/3 of public school students are Black or Hispanic.
But Black and Hispanic students make up just 11% of the specialized high schools. Zoe, you mentioned all the prep you did as a middle schooler to get into your specialized school. I wanted to ask you, why did you need a tutor?
The material on the admissions test wasn't taught in my schools. It's not in the Common Core curriculum, so doing an expensive prep class or getting a tutor is practically a requirement if you want to have a better chance at getting accepted.
We'll show you how this expensive test prep is one of the ways that specialized high schools effectively screen out large numbers of Black and Hispanic students.
My school is only 4% Black and 12% Hispanic, and it's in the Bronx.
We'll be diving deeper into this issue in episode 1. Here's a quick preview.
My school's dead in the center of the Bronx.
Yeah.
And they're all these kids from the Upper West Side that take private bus services to get to school. So they take Valo to school, they have their specialized education, they take a private bus service home.
Here I was walking with my totally dark cousin to school, and she was like, "No one here looks like us," and I was like, "Yeah." And it was just terrifying, truly mortifying. And I feel like I've never been in this kind of situation before.
Before we go, shout out to Alberto Lugo, aka DJ Synchro, for this amazing background music that you've been listening to. He's one of our interns, and he's creating original scores for each episode all season long. Hit him up on Instagram and YouTube at DJ Synchro. That's DJ SYNCHRO.
We also want to thank the reporters and editors from the Heckinger Report, a nonprofit outlet that covers inequality and innovation in education. They're partnering with us to take this podcast to the next level.
Finally, we want to hear from you, the students of New York City. If you have a story to tell, send it to us, and we might just feature you in a later episode. You can email miseducationpod@gmail.com or message us on Facebook, Twitter, or my personal favorite, Instagram, @miseducationpod. So Taylor, now that me and Zoe have showed you our yearbook, we're ready to see yours.
I had my dad send a photocopy of my 6th grade class picture, and now I'm gonna let you look at it. Hold on.
The anticipation builds.
Oh, computer's not working. Sorry, guys.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding.
Zoe, this is the moment of truth. Oh my gosh, Taylor, is that you?
Yeah.
Wait, how do I zoom in? Oh my gosh, Taylor. Wow, look at those braces. You look so adorable.
What strikes you about the class photo there?
There are a lot of turtlenecks, but also, it's definitely way more diverse than either of our class photos. And we live in New York. It's supposed to be a diverse city.
So you heard it here first. Mississippi, not only more diverse, but more fashionable too, with the turtlenecks.
I can't help but wondering who the heart is drawn around.
Yeah, that's a real mystery to me too, you know. Thanks for listening. We'll be back soon.